Hi everyone, welcome to the final segment of TalentCorp Career Comeback Program for Women. In this segment, in the Q&A segment, we'll be answering all the questions that has been posted by the participants to us, right? We have here today with us Sarah Tan, our trainer, our CEO for Leaderboard Consulting, and also Jason Wong, the director and founder of Hunters Search and Hunters International. And the most interesting thing about our segment is that you'll be hearing different point of views, right? From an employer perspective and also from a headhunter's perspective. I don't know about you, but I'm really excited for this segment. The first question is, Sarah, I am in my 50s and have been told it's a challenge for me to get a job. What can I do about it?
Thanks, May, for posting the questions. Yeah. For me, I think age is always just a number, right? Most importantly is you must be confident. When you attend an interview, how do you project yourself? In interview, right? To sell yourself in terms of your personal branding, your skills and knowledge. Right, and most importantly is always to show your energy, your willingness to learn. All right, because why is it age is sometimes a barrier? If I say no, it's also telling a lie. But I have to be honest with you. Yes, there's always some concern from an employer. There's a few things. One is either the current employer, their management team consists of very young people, right? So when even the MD is younger than 50, or even your hiring manager is younger than 50. Generally, they may not want to hire an older person in their team. So that's quite natural, right? So, or if they are not hiring you, it's because they are worried that, you cannot catch up, with the team in terms of learning, in terms of technology savviness, right? So this is areas where they are concerned of. And secondly is whether you can blend well with the culture. So if the company are all made up of young people, can you really, blend and communicate well with these young people if you're the only one that is really 50 years old and above, right? So, but 50 years old usually are people that brings a lot of skills, knowledge and experiences. So what can you sell when you attend an interview? So for me, that is really important. But don't give up, right? There will always be a job for you. And I know that, in Ministry of Human Resources under the Picasso, they actually have a website called Hire Seniors, where they specifically look into clients that wanted to hire senior people. But you may not get jobs that are, very highly paid, right? But if you are willing to go for jobs that just give you the experience, right? Lower jobs, I think you should try it out first, right? And wait for the right time for you to apply for much more challenging and attractive paying job.
Thank you so much, Sarah. It's good to know there are still employment opportunities like for people like you and I.
Yeah, there is.
Listen, on this topic, right, I just want to ask you a very frank question. Does your clients reject candidates that is above 50 years old?
Okay, thank you very much, May. To answer this question, my answer would be yes and no. Depending on the company, depending on the hiring manager expectations. Yeah, different hiring managers and also different hiring managers from different type of organizations, whether it's big or small organization, they have certain expectations in terms of hiring either young or more senior level type of people. So they would actually look at the age, maybe one of the main criteria. But nevertheless, I just wanted to share to those that are 50 and above, it doesn't mean that you don't get a job, right? Those 50 years and above, what they possess is the years of experience compared to the younger generation. And the years of experience, depending on your level, whether you are a management level person before, what you possess is your management skill. And you have actually managed maybe 5 to 10 or 20 people before. So you have the management skill, you have the maturity, you have the experience as compared to the younger people. That's the first thing. The second part is, I think the worry of the employer, let's say if they want to hire those matured people, would be because of their current salary. So those we would expect those around 50 years and above, their salary would be slightly higher or higher than those junior ones. And if let's say, for me, if you, in terms of competitiveness, you want to go to the bigger organization, it will be very competitive. But why not consider to apply for a smaller mid-sized corporation, whereby certain mid-sized or SMEs, they actually value experienced people that would have actually possessed certain experiences from multinational or conglomerate. And that kind of experience, you can actually contribute and tap into the small, medium enterprises. And a lot of those hiring managers or CEOs from the small, medium are probably in their organization, they would need more experienced people to actually inject that kind of experience into their organization. So I could see the trend now. There are a lot of SMEs that are actually hiring quite senior people because they would need their expertise and experience. Yeah. So don't fret. I think age is not an issue. It's a matter of how you find it, how you sell yourself, and where to find it.
I think the most important part of your answer is that, right, finding the right company that
Yes.
has a need for your experience,
Yes.
and also in terms of your maturity.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay, and the ability to adapt into the organization.
Yes. Yes.
Very good question. Thank you to the participant. The next question is actually quite relevant to this part, to your answer, Jason Wong, to your answer, right?
Yes.
Besides applying for jobs and connecting with headhunters, what else can I do? I'm going to let Jason Wong to take the answer first, the question first.
Okay, regarding this question, besides connecting to headhunters and applying for jobs, so I presume that this question, that participant would be looking for a job or haven't gotten a job yet.
Correct.
Besides that, right, I think one of the reasons why some of the participants or candidates not able to get a job is because of they are quite rigid in terms of their expectations. They would only apply for the job that they are more comfortable with, or even applying for job within their location or area. So my first pointer would be why not you widen your search, find out what other opportunities outside your industry or even outside your location. That would be number one. Number two is, during the period now, if you are looking for a job and haven't found a job yet, why not take on some freelance work or even take on some part-time or contract roles first for the time being until you secure a permanent role. Because at the moment, most of the organizations, in terms of the recruitment trend now, they are offering a lot of contract roles. So rather than just staying at home, not getting a job, couldn't find a job, why not apply for contract or even freelance work first for the time being? Or even there are people currently doing volunteering work. They volunteer themselves to actually help out during this pandemic to become volunteers in terms of the vaccination centers, in the vaccination centers. The third point, probably now is the best time to network as well, to network people, meet more people, because by networking, by connecting with more people, you will get more recommendations or referrals in terms of the jobs in the market, or even people will actually refer jobs to you. So I think networking is one of the most key essential factors, where you don't just limit yourself to the people that you know, but the more people you know from different organizations, for example, they might actually share any opportunity that will be available in their company or in terms of their network.
This is very interesting, very, very pertinent points, right? Sarah, you have actually answered this question during our training segment just now. And I really love your answers in terms of looking at how do you brand yourself as an employee. Right?
Yeah.
To answer this question, would you like to elaborate a little bit further on it?
I think personal branding is very, very important, and I think, besides applying for jobs, connecting, they need to be able to brand themselves. Just for example, do an elevator speech, right? If people ask you, what can you tell me about yourself? You must be able to say it in 5 to 6 seconds, personal branding, who you are, what are your strengths, what are your unique selling points. And I also want to touch on that, if you have been actively already applying for jobs and connecting to headhunters and still not successful, right? The best part is to really call the companies directly. In my time when I was in HR in BNW, right, I received calls directly from candidates, even though they're posted job streets or LinkedIn, but they call me directly and then they introduce themselves to me, And I find these candidates are, in fact, I will always, because they call me directly, I will give them a chance to meet up with me, or I will do a quick interview over the phone. So you get a chance to actually, be heard, right? To sell yourself, and of course that's about 5 minutes lah, or so, right? So during that time, you must be able to really tell the HR person who you are, what you're looking for, what your selling points, and I think you get their attention. And I've actually hired some of these people who call me. One is because I think they take the initiative to call me directly. Secondly, it shows their eagerness, to work for you, this company, because they call you and contact you directly. They do some research, so you are just trying to increase the chances as much as possible. Because I can understand sometimes headhunters have a lot of candidates as well, or when you apply for jobs, there are just hundreds over applicants, so your CV may be overlooked. So try different tactics, try different methods to get yourself, interviewed by the potential employer.
So basically, it's about personal branding, leveraging on your connections and networks, okay? Or stalk the hiring manager directly, or stalk the HR directly, in order to get a job.
Yes,
okay?
Correct.
In order to get a job, right?
You have to be aggressive. Yeah, you have to be aggressive.
Would you give the next question, the next participant, right, with this question, the same answer? Okay, the question is, I'm formerly from automotive industry and then worked in a different industry. Applied for automotive industry in recent times, no success. What can I do to get the job interview opportunity? Is age a factor? So Sarah, over to you.
This is talking about age again, right? As we mentioned, age is always never a factor, right? And it's about how you sell yourself, how you convince the other party, right, that you are the right person for the job, right? And because this person is coming from automotive, I think I can, as I mentioned earlier in the training workshop, right? He or she should get in touch with me, right? And I can see how I can help him or her, right, to get an interview. Automotive industry is a very small industry. Everybody knows each other, and of course there's a job available as well. Although at this point of time, with the soft market, automotive opportunity is definitely much lesser than in other industry. But there is always job opening, right? So probably not now, but we build a network first, we build a connection first, right? And I'm sure the door will be open one day. So I will again advise this person to connect to me, and I'll get just do an interview and chit chat to know him or her better.
Okay. Sarah's contact information will be posted in the comment. Okay, just check the comment out in the in Leaderboard YouTube channel for this segment, and then get in touch with Sarah. She will help you, to leverage in terms of her connections, right? Okay. But first, she will interview you first to see if you're suitable for the role or not. Okay, right? Okay. The next question is actually addressed to Jason Wong. Yep. The next question is, there is some relevance. There is some similarity to the question. I have been in the hotel industry for the past 15 years and was retrenched because of the COVID, right? Okay. Now I want to join a new industries, but doesn't have relevant experience in the new industries. Okay. And most of the time, I have a feeling that this candidate is not shortlisted because of the industry experience. What is your advice to this candidate?
Okay. So, thank you for the question. Means that she's from hospitality industry but couldn't get a job, and she also wants to apply for other industry as well, correct? That's the question, right?
Correct.
Okay, I will break this question into two portions. Number one is I will ask the question why first she couldn't get a job in the hospitality industry. So we know that because of the pandemic now, yes, it's true, it's very difficult to get a job in hospitality industry. But it boils down to, once the pandemic is over, whether she can still get a job in hospitality industry or not. That will be the question mark that we are not sure yet. All right. Then I'll go to the second portion, to apply for another industry. So when we apply for the industry, the other industry, the main concern is with the industry knowledge and experience. But at the same time, I would actually question and ask the participant whether she has really understand the actual root cause, the reason why she couldn't get a job in the first place, regardless of the industry. Because I think there are certain companies, yes, they actually would prefer those people from a similar industry, but on the other hand, the answer is no. Some hiring managers or even some positions, they would require expertise depending on the strength in terms of skill set and not industry specific. So on the other hand, I would want this participant to check first whether is there anything wrong in terms of because in terms of getting a job, securing a job, there will be two main factors. Resume, that is the first step to make sure that you attract the hiring manager to interview you. And number two is to do well in the face-to-face interview. All right. So if let's say if you don't have that industry knowledge, it doesn't matter. But when you apply for the job, you need to understand the key job scope and requirements of the role. And based on the key job scope and the requirements, you need to make sure that you know how to actually contribute or value add to the new organization basing on that job scope and requirement. You have to prepare yourself well. If let's say you're not from the industry, but you have the relevant experience, knowledge, or requirements, how do you put that message across to the interviewer or the hiring manager so that they will take note that you are suitable, but even though you do not have the industry experience and knowledge, they will still consider you because you bring in a new fresh perspective, a new fresh experience from another industry into their industry. So at the end of the day, I think the candidate or the participants would need to do a little bit of analysis, whether your resume is up to mark, whether it's aligned and tailor-made to the particular job or role in the industry, and also in terms of the face-to-face interview, what would be the expected or most frequently asked questions for the industry, and you prepare yourself for it and make sure that you're able to align the expectations of the interviewer versus what you have and you possess in terms of your skill set and experience.
Thanks very much, Jason. Okay, what he basically said is that please watch the segment 1 and the segment 2 of this career comeback program, because both segments talks about pre-interview, how to do, how to prepare your resume. It was conducted by Weiling. Thanks, Weiling. Okay, and then the segment 2 is that the interviewing techniques, right? That is conducted by Sarah Tan. Sarah, do you have anything to add on to Jason's answer?
As was Jason, as what Jason was talking about, something came to my mind. I was thinking, for these people who are retrenched, right? I mean, 15 years, I think you're still quite young, right? If you say you're more than 20 years, I think you're about my age. So 15 years, I think you're still at a very active, employed age. You're either mid-30s, so I think you still have a lot of chance to get into a new industry. And something came to my mind. I was just thinking that if you want to join a new industry, why don't you maybe try something radical? Apply as an intern, right? Just like every fresh graduate came out from universities, right? They apply for intern. They don't ask for much salary. So you can write into a specific industry or company that you're interested in and say you want to work for them as an intern, right? You want to work for them with no money because you just want to get an experience. Why not? And I think if I'm a HR person and I say, hey, you are willing to come into this new industry and you're willing to start from the beginning and say, I just want to work for you as an intern, right? Or you can say, I want to do some research paper for you, right? And I think I'm very, very, happy to have you on board. Come to do some research, come to my company to do some intern, to start fresh. So this is, I think, one new way you can get yourself into a new industry, right? Instead of writing the same normal type of resume, I want to apply for this job, I want to apply for that job, because you're definitely not going to get it, right? So you have to start like a fresh graduate, write in, sell yourself as newbies, right? Offer something that they don't have to pay you, but because you just want to get that experience. Try that out. Let's see.
I really like this out-of-the-box thinking, or out-of-the-box solution, right? Okay. Would you give the same answer? Would both of you give the same answer to the next participant, right? Okay. My experience is not relevant to the jobs available today, and I'm not able to compete with a fresh graduate. Do you think I'm able to get any job?
May
just to give you some context for this question, is that right? Okay. So this person, she's around 30 late 40s, and she has been out of employment for the past 5 years.
So you know this person who raised this question, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So she's around 40 lah.
In her late 40s.
In her late 40
49.
But what job is she in right now? Because you said
She has
experience
not been.
relevant.
She has been out of job for the past 5 years.
And what was her past experience?
Her past experience, she was actually working as a marketeer.
Mm-hmm.
But 5 years ago, digital marketing is not so hot in the market, right?
Yeah,
and now everyone in the marketing industry, they need to understand what is digital marketing all about. They have to learn how the new jargons, SEO, SEM, and things like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Why did she say that she's not able to compete? Because she has the experience. So first, she has the already industry experience. She's only the skill. And as I mentioned in my second workshop, right, people hire character, skills can be trained, right? So that's more important. Even though you may not have the skills, and I think she's able to learn, she's probably definitely young, early 40s, right? She has taken some certificate in digital marketing and all that, right? She already have that skills. So next is how she sells herself as a character. And definitely, I think with her industry knowledge, with the job experience, she has worked with people, she can definitely compete with fresh graduates. So she just need to be a bit more confident, right? And don't give up. And as I mentioned here earlier, right, as a marketer, you can do a lot of freelance job from anywhere. Offer yourself to do freelance job, all right, with agencies, with advertisers, yeah, even without pay, yeah, just to get this experience built into your CV. I'm very sure that she will be able to find a job
that is suitable for her.
Yes, that's correct. And you can see in the LinkedIn, I put up, right, in the training, in the start, yeah, there are people looking for quite a lot of jobs for digital marketing, right? So try that out.
Very good. Jason, do you have anything to add on?
Oh yes. Since now it's very competitive. A lot of job seekers, whether fresh grads, those with a few years of experience, or those even at the senior level, or those that have they couldn't find a job now. A lot of candidates or job seekers couldn't find a job. So referring back to the question, this particular participant was a marketeer before. It makes it more competitive and complex because now in the job market, if you're talking about digital marketing, I could say a lot of younger people or the junior ones are more tech savvy. So in order to compete with all these fresh grads or even the junior ones, there's much more experienced workforce or the job seekers would need to double their effort, put in extra, even double or triple their effort to learn about the new technology. So when the employer has looking for a digital marketer, so as May mentioned, SEO, SEM, and these jargons could be very strange or even very something that is not familiar to those in their 50s or 40s or 50s. So if you want to apply for that job, before knowing what these terms are all about, you already lost the battle. So my take for this is, why not you need to upskill yourself first? So for them, why not go for certain seminars or trainings and get yourself certified? Because all these are additional so-called hard skill that can be trained, that you can learn on your own, and you can attend training and get a cert. By providing all these justifications and certificates, it will make your life easier when you go for the interview, that you have actually gone through it before, even though you have not worked in that particular field or in terms of the actual digital marketing work, but at least by attending training, having the cert, and trying out on your own, doing certain, probably start up with your own social media page, for example, or even to create your own website, or how you can actually generate more traffic to your page or website with certain data and facts. I believe that will be able to actually sell and will be able to actually convince the employer that you are not computer illiterate or even digital marketing illiterate in a way. So I think it is more towards justifying yourself and upskilling to me.
Yeah, may I add on something?
Definitely, please go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, looking at this candidate, right? She actually can bring in the marketing job, not only just focus on digital. She can actually venture into more strategic role in the marketing, right? Because she has the experience, so she can go into strategic marketing, like designing campaigns or working out into some research, development in campaigns, right? So that because the strength in fresh credits are more digital, but what you can bring as someone more experienced and seasoned in the market are your understanding of market research, your analytical skills, right? So there are different roles in marketing that you can venture into. Marketing analysis, for example, right? Or you can go into some CRM role, which is quite close to marketing as well. Or you can go into some customer service area, which I think are also quite related to marketing or sales or even business development. So don't just focus on marketing. See what other channel can you branch out besides marketing that is closely needed to marketing.
Okay. So basically, that both of you are sharing is that upgrade your skills, upskill yourself, build your portfolio, build a marketing portfolio whereby you can actually show your work to the potential companies or hiring managers, right? And most importantly, right, what are the skill set that you can bring to the table? Maybe you cannot do content development, right? Okay, but like what Sarah said, like what are the other complementary strengths that you can actually bring to the table in terms of strategy, in terms of new implementations and things like that.
Correct.
Thank you so much for the question. Thank you so much for the answers. Right. The next question is a little bit to do with the qualification. I was not able to complete my degree due to financial issues. Since I have been working, would it be important to gain a degree? Okay. I just want to add on to this question, if you don't mind, right? Okay. Most of the people in our generation, Sarah, okay, in their 40s or 50s, those days, right? Okay. If you graduate with a SPM or you graduate with a STPM, it's a big deal. Then. Yeah. Okay, but now it's like I don't know how to describe it, So what is your advice to these two group of people? What are both of your advice to these two group of people, right? One is that they are in their 30s or 20s but didn't complete their degree due to financial reason or other reasons. And the second category is for people like us, right, that didn't have a degree, for our age group but didn't have a degree, right? What are your advice? Sarah first, please.
Okay, thank you, May. Well, I noticed that a lot of employer, one of the qualifications, especially if you are really going to a professional career, right, corporate industry, they definitely will want to have at least a minimum degree. Sometimes they put their diploma depending on the job level, executive level and all that. They probably can accept a diploma. But if you're going for a managerial level and above, a degree certificate is definitely an added advantage. Can you imagine if you're comparing so many CVs, right, candidates, and your other candidates have a degree but you don't have, and you have almost the same experience, the chances of you getting selected will be probably lesser compared to the other candidate. So having a degree is always an added advantage, a plus point for you to sell yourself. I would definitely encourage this person to enroll himself or herself to Open University. You can accept senior people, right, to take a degree cert at least. But maybe these days you can jump straight to an MBA, so you can either do part-time and ongoing. You can put down in your CV that you're ongoing and doing part-time a degree. I think that will help a lot as well. Although experience outweighs qualifications sometimes, but I also noticed that employer do count into a qualification requirements. Yeah, even some SME as well, right? They also look into having a degree certificate, right? So this is definitely something I would encourage a person to seriously think about it now.
Even for the more matured employees.
Yeah, I mean, if you're already at 50. years old and above, I would definitely not encourage, unless you have the time to do it, because you're at a very mature age already, right? Probably going back to school is not something you want to do. So then you will probably have to really brush up in terms of obtaining some certification, especially certification that's related to that job, right? Even in HR these days, right, they will ask whether you have a certificate in human resources, right? Supply chain also have a certificate. Accounting has a certificate, right? ACC, ACMA. If not, then you're at least, I feel that you're at a disadvantage compared to other candidates that have all these certificates for that particular job, right? That's my take.
Thanks, Sarah. So, Jason, from a headhunter perspective, what are your thoughts?
Okay. My answer to this is whether it's important to gain a degree cert. My answer is yes. Because it depends on what's your ambition or what's your direction in terms of career. I think that is a very important question that you have to ask yourself. If you decide to actually just being a normal employee, do not really look into progressing further in your career, then it might not be important to get a degree. Not that important to get a degree. But if you want to progress further in your career, at least to achieve as a management level or manager level and above, right up until the top management, senior management, degree is a prerequisite. And furthermore, knowing the fact that now with this new generation, younger generation, majority of the grads are degree holder. So you have to ask yourself as well whether you're able to compete with all these people that have degree. That will be already a very major shortcoming already if you don't have a degree in the first place. So for those participants or candidates that have working experience but they do not have a degree, they have a diploma, we have actually seen before quite a number of candidates, in order to step up or even in order to progress in terms of their career, they go straight direct to taking masters rather than degree. So you actually skip one level, no need to attain your degree, and they straight go to study masters. And that masters, by taking, for example, MBA, that already would be a plus point, even though you don't have a degree. Because at the end of the day, most of us, even the headhunters or the employer, would look at the highest qualification. So when they look at the highest qualification, you already have a master's. If let's say it's the MBA, that is a door opener in terms of for you to actually even to get a management level type of position. Because what you have is your working experience. Plus, with an MBA, there's no question that you also already a qualified person as compared to those degree holders as well. So, for this question, it depends on your career direction. If you want to step up, you want to do well in your career and being a top management person, that is the way to go. I don't think you can stop there by just having a diploma.
Thanks, Jason. Okay, now to my favorite topic, my next favorite topic, right? Let's talk about money. Right? Okay. The first question is how to negotiate tactfully for a fair compensation for the role. Instead, the recruiter or the employer will press down the salary, the asking salary based on your last drawn. Sarah, you want to take the...
Okay, all right, Ken, thanks, May. So how to nego tactfully for a fair compensation? Right. In the interview, you don't want to come across as you're very demanding, right? Always says, I always want to put this, right? What is your minimum salary that you can accept, right? To meet the commitments that you have, right? So I think this will be a very fair request if you tell the employer that this is my minimum salary because it's to fulfill my minimum commitment for my family, for the commitments of paying my car loans, house rental, and so forth. So I would request this amount of salary, for example, it's 7,000, 8,000, right? So you need to mention to them. So I think that will be, if I'm the interviewer, I will definitely understand this is your minimum requirements, right? And it's all up to them whether they want to give it to you, right? Because at the end of the day, this is the supply and demand, right? So because every company has their own budget, but if your minimum requirement is higher than their budget, you probably may not get a job, because if there's a next candidate who can fulfill their requirements, they will probably give it to the next candidate. So when you are throwing out these demands, for the employer to fulfill your minimum requirement, which is higher than the budget, there's always a risk, right? So my question is, how badly you want the job? If you really you need the job, sometimes you need some sacrifice, right? But you must understand, whether the sacrifice that you're willing to go lower than your family commitments is worth it or not, right? Or you're willing to take and wait for the next job to come by. So this is a decision the person has to decide himself.
Before opening the floor to Jason, one of your answer really hit right on the head, right on the nail for the next question. So I'm going to present these two questions together because there's some relevancy there, right? How would I know what's the best amount to request for the position I'm hiring for, right? Because I'm worried I will come across as too demanding, but at the same time, I don't want to be underpaid.
How do you get? I think a good reference is based on your previous job, right? Let's say you previously you were doing, I don't know, let's say example like HR executive, and you were paid 5,000. You have an idea how much an HR executive was paid, or on executive in general, whether it's marketing or sales. Sales usually come with some commission, right? But other than that, finance executive, executive level are usually within 4,000-5,000, right? Manager generally goes a bit more, which is 7,000-8,000. So if you go within this range, you won't run very far, right? From what you demand, okay? But if you're at a senior level, then you can at least demand a bit more, which is slightly above 10K, right? Or even more, depending on the size of the company. SMEs and multinational company and GLC pays different range, right? MNC can pay a bit more, even for executive, they can even go up to 8K, right? So this helps you, give you some bearing and orientation, right? SME, smaller company are usually much lesser, 1,000 or 2,000 lesser for the same executive job. So for example, executive in the SME maybe pay 5K, right? MNC can pay slightly more, maybe go up to 7, right? Manager, for a manager job in SME, maybe pay up to 7, and the MNC can maybe stretch up to 9 to 10K, right? So you give this kind of buffer in between. That's what I would do.
So to summarize your advice, right? The first thing that you need to know is that you need to understand what is the market rate for that job or for that level, okay? And then also at the same time, you need to understand that what is your commitment level, your personal commitment level, whether it matches or not, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
And your last advice is that do not overprice yourself so that you won't get the opportunity at all.
Yeah,
right?
correct.
Jason Wong, would you have the same advice for these two participants?
I will add on to what Sarah has mentioned from the headhunter perspective. So from the headhunter perspective, this is a very common question. I think how we can help to negotiate on behalf of the candidate in front of a client. But before that, there are a few factors we have to take into consideration to negotiate on the salary. I mean, to negotiate on the salary, we just cannot just by negotiating just like that. If we are able to justify and also to negotiate a higher salary for you, we would definitely negotiate a higher salary for you if you're able to justify. So first thing first, we will look into your current package, for example. And your current package component is actually divided into base salary in terms of fixed allowances and whatever performance bonus or even contractual bonus. So to look at whether the salary that you're asking for, whether it's fair or is something that you can demand higher or not, let us look at your current package and remuneration in terms of all the components, in terms of the per annum package versus the offer given or the expected salary that you're going to ask from this potential employer with the other benefits as well. And from there, we make a benchmark. And prior to COVID, normally candidates can expect probably 15% to 30% of their in terms of increase from their current salary. But because during this pandemic period, it is very tough for you to negotiate higher than that in terms of percentage. And knowing the fact that a lot of companies are struggling, even to pay salary or even not doing well financially. So in terms of negotiating 15 to 30%, it's getting more tougher. So the current rate that I can expect is either if you don't have a job, if you can get same salary or even up to 15%, that would be very good really. Yeah. But if let's say you want to negotiate higher, then you need to justify what was your previous current or previous package that you are earning versus the offer, looking at the per annum sum and whether the percentage is something that you feel that is comfortable for you. That's number one. Number two, in order to negotiate, if you are able to justify in terms of your experience, your strength, your achievements, your contribution to the previous company and what you can contribute to the new company, that would be some additional information that might turn the tide. The new employer or the hiring manager might actually consider that, hey, this is something that she highlighted, that probably I need it, as compared to other candidates that don't have it. Why not I pay this candidate higher because of this justification or this reasoning given by the candidate as well. Yeah. Number three, normally we will look in terms of the job stability and also in terms of the tenureship period of the candidate. If, for example, if you just joined a job for 3 months, 6 months, and you're asking for 15%, 20%, 30% increase, it's very high chance that you might not get it, because they will be thinking that you're a job hopper or you're leaving to the new job because of the salary only because of salary, nothing else but just salary. Yeah. My take is we also look at the overall tenureship. If you are a stable person, you have actually progressed in the previous company with certain level of achievements, you will have the bargaining power. You can actually demand higher salary in terms of the percentage, because what employer worries most is the person coming in, not performing, or even not stable, and might just leave after that because of non-performance, whatever. So it's common in the market now that the employer might not pay the salary that you want, but they might want to actually pay you a lower salary first, monitor for a while, like 3 to 6 months, and after that, if you're able to actually deliver whatever KPIs or expectations during that probation period, they might actually revise the salary, and from there you can even get the salary that you wanted earlier. So you might not get it now, but you might get it later. So be flexible. I think in terms of the salary negotiation, know your value, what you can actually put on the table, and if this is the job that you want, the company that you want to join, don't miss that opportunity, because by joining the company, gaining the experience, performing in the role, you can get higher salary than what you actually asked for.
The keyword is performing lah.
Yes, correct.
The keyword is performing lah, right? Okay. So Sarah, this is a question for you, because I just thought of another question, right? That is actually, but the reason why I address this question for you is that I want to hear it from a HR perspective, right? In most companies, what they do is that when they hire a new employee from another company, when they hire a new company, they always use the employee's current remuneration as a benchmark.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you address a case, right, whereby this is a very good candidate, but she has been underpaid in her current job? You know what I'm saying now, right? Like, for example, right, can I just throw in some numbers here, right? She has been in this company, and then she gets promoted 2-3 times, but her salary is still 3,008, right?
Okay.
And she's playing the role of an assistant manager. When the market rate for an assistant manager ranges anywhere between 5,000 to 7,000, 5,000 to 7,000, right? But she's still being paid 3,008. Yeah, you have interviewed her and you find her that she's very, very suitable as a manager in BMW, right? How do you address a case like this?
Yeah. Okay, I've encountered this case before, where, so I can actually share my experience now, right? So definitely this poor lady or whoever, has been really underpaid, I feel sorry for him or her, correct? So we need to rectify it, yeah. I mean, a good employer will not just use the previous salary and then mark up 20-25%, yeah, because we have our own internal structure, right? And we know that if we do that, this person will take a long time to even catch up with the rest of the peers in the company. So we will definitely, adjust more for her, right? we will justify if she's really the right candidate, we know that she can fit into the company, right? We will definitely pay her within our salary structure, right? So she'll probably enter from the minimum of salary structure or somewhere closer to the midpoint. You know, we have the minimum, midpoint, and the maximum range, right? Right. So, and then we will probably we will adjust her throughout the maybe a 6 months adjustment upon confirmation, right? And another adjustment, you know, after a year. So we will definitely have to do that, but you know, we will not bring her in, you know, below our salary structure, right? Because we want to make sure that she gets the right pay, she's within our salary range, and because the job that we're going to offer her will not be easy, right? If it is a assistant manager or she's even coming to a manager's job, her responsibility for the company that we have will be definitely more, you know, and we want her to be motivated, right, to focus on the job and not be concerned about the salary. So it will not be immediate. We can't also give her 50% jump, you know, but we will do increment staggeredly as well, because at the end of the day, we pay for performance. We want to make, because we do not know, I mean, interview candidates, yes, one thing, she may feel pass all the interview question on it, but at the end, the actual assessment will be after 6 months, whether she can really fulfill our requirement, you know, and then we will do a staggered adjustment throughout the years. So she will take some time to reach the level of what it should be for the pay for the job.
I heard a very good advice yesterday, right? I heard a very good advice yesterday for those of you who are thinking about leaving your job, your current job, because of the pay, right? My advice is actually, if it's because of the pay, you want to leave the job because of the pay, please talk to your superior first.
Yes.
Okay, before you seek for other jobs. But if you are leaving the job for other reasons, because you wanted to have new industry exposure, right? Okay, or you have touched your 7 years each and everything, then proceed with it. But if it's just because of the pay, talk to your superior about it. Because if you are a good employee, the company will definitely do something to retain you. Okay. Talking
That's
about
true.
that, right? So we have reached to our last question already, and if you followed through the segment number 2, right, the Q&A segment, I will also end today's section with a story, right? Okay. So the last question, I know, me too. Okay. So the last question for today is work references. Does the recruiter needs to speak to my current employer or superior or HR directly, even though I am still working for the company, right? Okay, and they have not given me an offer yet. So how do you keep this discreet? Jason.
I will answer this. The answer is no.
It's a definite no, right?
It's a definite no. Based on our practice all this while, we don't expect our candidates to nominate their current employer or the current referee or the current superior. No, the answer is no. Yeah. In terms of reference check, it is mostly the latest last 2 jobs in terms of their ex-superior. That is what they need to nominate in terms of the referee. And we truly respect the privacy and confidentiality of our candidates when they actually apply for the job. And even if our client, for example, they want to do a reference check and asking us to check with their current employer and their current superior, we will inform our client no, because at the end of the day, nothing is concrete yet in terms of the offer, and even it is very unfair for the current employer or superior to know that his or her employee is actually looking for a job. Yeah. So this is not the practice. It's not the right practice as well, because I think every employee deserves a chance to get a job, and they deserve to be, in terms of their identity, to be protected before they get a job. Yeah. At the end of the day, you never know that the new boss will know the current boss. So if the new boss knows the current boss,
the
world is so small.
It will not be fair to the candidate. In the end, the current boss decides that, oh, you're looking out for a job now, so I decide not to increase your salary, or I'm not going to promote you, and I'm just going to put you aside because I know that you're looking for a job. So I think on the other hand, to make it in a bigger picture, I think it's not the right practice. So no
Correct.
worries, the candidates, no worries. If you go through us, the recruitment firm, whatever, we don't actually check the current employer in terms of reference. We only check the last two employers.
Thank you very much for clarifying that, Jason. Okay.
Yes.
Sarah, anything to share?
Yeah, I think this situation only occurs if, let's say, your company is doing a restructuring, or you know that you are already accepting a MSS or VSS, and this is a known fact that the company is going to let go of people, right? Yeah. So this is where a situation can be allowed, I suppose, right? Because your boss also will want you to start looking for jobs, right? So I think it's only in these circumstances that I would say, where you can refer your current employer, to the recruiters or whoever to speak to your bosses. Other than that, I fully agree with Jason. Yeah.
Okay.
Correct.
Right. So for companies out there, if you're doing a reference check for your potential employees, please do not call their current employer. That is a big no-no. Right? Okay. Now to the final story segment really. So this story actually has 3 parts. And I want to make sure that I capture the story well. So I'm going to read it word for word, yeah? Okay. I didn't have a good term with my employer cause they dismissed me unfairly. I was a star performer and hit my KPI. I was dismissed, the same story, by the way. I was dismissed by a new management who wants to bring in his own people. Okay? It is very hard for me to get a chance to interview because my ex-boss blacklisted me in the industry. The question is, does it mean that this is the end of my career in corporate world?
Quite a complicated one, huh?
Yeah. And I thought that this would be a very interesting discussion, right, to end our segment.
Yeah, correct.
Right. Sarah, you want to take it first?
Yeah, I'm just going to comment, this as such an employer is really bad, when you blacklist people, you are really telling, everybody that, she don't get a job, she cannot go out and find job, so if you are an employer out there who's listening to this, don't do this to your staff, right? Even because everybody needs to earn a living, so never blacklist people. Well, I think in this case, this person has a good story to tell. I would say that too, because if you're attending an interview, right, in such cases, this because this is you are a good performer, and you're just dismissed because there's a new management and they want to bring their own people. That happens quite a lot of time, right? So the chemistry between you and your employer just doesn't match now, right? And that's quite common, because as we know, right, when you hire people, you want people to have the team, your own team with you, right? We can also see also in the politics, right? Pakatan wants their own people, UMNO wants their own people, It's not because you fail or certain things, it's just that, it's a matter of whether they can trust you or they know whether they want you to be still in the team. So if you're going for an interview in this instance, you can always tell the potential employer that there's a new restructuring in the company, right? New management has come into the company, and therefore, I find myself not able to be part of the team anymore because the new management have hired their own people, and I decided that I just want to look out for new opportunity outside the market, right, or outside the industry. Okay, so this I think is very usually well accepted by the HR and whoever is interviewing you because they do understand. HR do appreciate and understand that whenever a new management comes in, there's always be challenges. Working for new people, new bosses, right? So these are common conflicts that will always happen in an organization, right? What do you think, Jason?
Okay, for this question, I feel that probably not sure the side of the story from the candidate. There are certain information that we don't have. So I'm only able to advise based on the question that probably she was dismissed unfairly. You may want to actually collect evidence and proof why were you dismissed in the first place, and maybe lodge a report. I think you need to lodge a report if let's say you were dismissed unfairly. Because at the end of the day, if you have the justification and the reason why you need to be dismissed because of the company or whatever, and you have that report, you can actually justify or even show that proof to the new employer that it's not because I did something wrong or whatever. It's probably due to the management or the certain reasons why they need to dismiss me. So I think you need to have that kind of backup in terms of proof to show that you are clean and you are not being terminated or dismissed due to other reasons. Yeah, that's number one. Number two, I don't believe that even though you're blacklisted, you cannot get a job. No, I don't think so. I mean, unless it's a gross misconduct or certain very severe disciplinary issues that you have actually done, criminal or whatever that you have done in the company, then that warrants a very constructive dismissal or something that is that you definitely there's no way any other company or employer would actually want to hire you because of that. The blacklisted in this way could be probably only few contacts of the bosses or your boss, and there are still a lot of other job opportunities in the market where they don't really know what's happened. Probably if they do reference check, they only will know. That's why if they prefer to do reference check, you may need to actually back up with all this data that I've actually mentioned or shared to you earlier. Yeah, and find out why you were dismissed in the first place. Yeah, so if you are a star performer, if you hit your KPI and all that, if any new employer, definitely they will still hire you if let's say you have actually performed in your previous company. But try to protect yourself and defend yourself with the reason why you were dismissed. I think that is important. If not, there will always be this particular concern lingering in the new employer's mind that something has happened in your previous company that you were dismissed. So I think you need to actually prove yourself.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah.
That's the end of our storytelling. Sarah Tan, a pleasure to have you in the Q&A segment.
Welcome, you're most
for
welcome.
Hardtalk Interview. Jason Wong, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Right, for this segment. To everyone, enjoy yourself. As what I mentioned earlier, their contact information is in the comments. Please feel free to reach out to them directly if you have any other questions. Take care and bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Yes.